Nicole, take it away.
All right. So good evening. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming to our virtual sip and sail. And I hope you have something good to sip on. Tonight, we are mainly going to be talking about the music trip I have planned for next year. I plan music or arts focused trips at Mon Voyage. We do a lot of European specialized travel. My clients tend to have a deep interest in arts, culture, history, performing arts. And so those things really play into every trip I plan, but some of the trips are especially focused on one of those aspects. So for example, I have a trip to France coming up at the end of the summer that is very heavily focused on art. And then tonight we're talking about this trip that is going to be heavily focused on music. I have planned quite a few trips for music organizations in the past, supporting the Dallas Opera Guild, the Clyburn Foundation. So this trip, if we reach a certain threshold, our group minimum of 10, I will donate $50 per participant to either the Clyburn or the Dallas Symphony at the choice of the participant. So this one also does have a tie-in with the local music organization that I support. I'm going to let Laurie first talk just briefly. I think most of you guys have come to one of my previous sip and sails with Laurie. So she's just going to go through really quickly some information about AmaWaterways and the ship before we get into the specifics. So just a kind of a little quick review of that for anybody who might end up watching later who has not seen that information before.
Sounds good. Thank you so very much. As you can see, we have 3 people on this screen that are going to be hosting. Janet Brava is our Chief Marketing Officer. And actually, Nicole has spent some time with Janet. She's frequently on our vessels doing marketing symposiums with everyone. But Janet is on a plane right now, and we thought she would connect, but I don't think she's on. So we wanted to have a little message from Janet and with this video. So let's go ahead and play it. This is Janet.
Good evening. My name is Janet Bava, and I have the pleasure of being AmaWaterways Chief Marketing Officer. First, I would like to apologize. I am not live in attendance, but I wanted to create a special message just in case I will fail to log in on a plane via their Wi-Fi. I wanted to give you all a special thank you for your time this evening. I know that Nicole and Laurie have prepared a wonderful presentation about this amazing itinerary along the Danube River that we have worked so hard on curating for you, who will be able to experience it during the inaugural sailing in March 2023. To Nicole, I do want to give a special thank you. I know, your experience with not only European travel overall, but with so many other river cruise brands, having experienced so many of them this past March, also in sailing with AmaWaterways along the Rhine and Danube rivers. We really, really appreciate your partnership, and we are so honored that you have selected us as a trusted partner to present to your clients this evening. We really hope that you all enjoy yourselves. We cannot wait to welcome you on board. We have an amazing staff and crew that are curating locally sourced cuisines for you to experience while you sail on board with us. And don't forget, there is a limited time offer that we also are going to be presenting this evening, but I will let Laurie and Nicole take care of that. That being said, I will sign off now, but just temporarily. I hope to sign in soon or see you all on board our beautiful river cruise ships, where our crew is ready to welcome you.
So that is our beautiful Janet. So I apologize.
Good evening.
So I apologize that she was not able, and everyone heard that, right?
Yes.
Good, video worked. Fantastic. So technology. So I really, at the wine tasting, I met some of you, but I really didn't get a chance to really talk in depth about Ama. And, you know, in 2020, we did have a successful sales season. That was the height of COVID. Remember that. And we had Ehoy, a German tour operator that chartered our vessels. So during the pandemic, we moved about 1,400 passengers. And that's important. Why I'm telling you this is because, you know, AMA goes above and beyond. And that truly is something. Rudy Schreiner, our owner, Christine Kars, our owner, they talk about this all the time, that all 25 of these vessels that you see are debt-free. They're all paid for. And that's really how, during the pandemic, Rudy slept at night. So just wanted to give you a little bit of financial background on the company, very financially sound. 3 partners in ownership, very family brand, and you feel it when you come on board. And I know Nicole has experienced that with our brand. So this is my favorite slide. And some of you that have taken, you know, and are familiar with AMA, you know that oceans take you to countries and rivers take you right through them. And that's really a big part of river cruising. You're going to experience the destination through the eyes of the river. But not only that, the scenery along the river. Remember the Romans navigated these rivers. So there's a lot of history and culture along the river, which we're going to bring to you. So a little map of the world of where we travel with AMA. We're on 14 rivers and waterways, 23 countries and 33 itineraries. So if this one is not in your wheelhouse for 2023, we certainly have more that Nicole can choose for you. At the end of this month, well, in a short week, I can't believe we're already finished with April, I will be on the Douro River in Portugal. So I'm very excited about that. We have 2 itineraries on this river. And then we move on to France in Bordeaux. So the Garonne and the Douro. And this itinerary is incredible for the big houses in Bordeaux, you know, all of those beautiful wine regions. And before I go any further, I hope everyone grabbed their favorite beverage, because this is Nicole and Laurie's sip and sail cocktail hour. So if it's a beer, so be it, or if it's a glass of wine, or even water. So I hope you grabbed something before you got on. And then the Rhone and the Saône, and then the Seine. We have on the Moselle, the beautiful Moselle, the Belgium and Holland waterways, the Scheldt and the Maas, which are really tributaries from the Rhine. And then of course the Upper Rhine, the Main-Rhine Canal, the Upper Danube, all the way down to Giurgiu on the Lower Danube. So those are the European rivers. Then we move to Egypt, our exotics. We just started this program in September of last year, and it's doing very, very well. The sales season for Egypt would be from September through June, the middle of June, and encompassing those winter months, which is fantastic. And then Asia on the Mekong, Siem Reap to Ho Chi Minh, or Ho Chi Minh back up to Siem Reap, downstream or upstream, and of course with extensions. And then maybe a 4-night river safari on the Chobe, on our Africa product, and then maybe adding 5 nights Kruger National Park, a land safari, then maybe Rwanda seeing the gorillas, and then maybe Victoria Falls or the Rovia train. So that's a breadth of our product, which expands really the world. And new to come, the Magdalena River in Colombia, and that's going to be in 2024. That may be a great group for you to have, Nicole. So just a little bit about what's included with AMA and why AMA. You know, we started with family owned and operated, and we're going to celebrate our 20th anniversary, July 3rd. So very excited about that. We're known for our river view staterooms, which are going to be twin balcony vessels. And you'll see a picture of that twin balcony because your ship, the AmaSonata, if you choose this itinerary, has it. You have up to 6 choices of included excursions in small groups, and we'll have gentle walkers, regular walkers, active walkers. We'll have biking and hiking along the Danube. It's a relatively flat area around on the Danube to bike, and it's a wonderful opportunity if that's something that you like to do. We have beer and wine, that all important beer and wine included with meals. And of course, the award-winning chef's table, all of that is included. The chef's table has a 6 to 9 course pairing with wines. So all of that is included in your cruise fare. Also, the sip and sail cocktail hour. Sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's an hour and 30 minutes. It just depends. And that is right before dinner every night. So if we're in Germany and or Austria and we're serving those Rieslings, you have an opportunity to have that. Or if you want a cocktail that night, you can certainly have it. We do have a drink of the day, but like Nicole said, sometimes you want something different. Depends on how the day goes. Also, we have an exceptional crew and cruise manager on board. And I want to remind you that the cruise manager, if you're doing the pre-extension, your cruise manager will join you for your pre-stay in Krakow. And we'll talk a little bit about that in just a bit. But the staff will treat you like family, because that's what AMA is all about, love and family. And then the professionally trained wellness host, you can say, I am not exercising on my vacation, and that's fine. But we do have a wellness host. I did use my wellness host. I did do champagne yoga, but I also did some digestive walks. So after meals, sometimes she would call, get together and say, hey, meet me on the top deck or meet me in front, and we'll go into the park or wherever we're docked, and we'll do a little bit of a digestive walk after a big meal. I thanked her for that. I actually was able to walk off a little to eat more. So I eat my way through our itineraries, which the food is fantastic. And then we do welcome our solo travelers, so we don't penalize you paying 200%. And the great thing about a river cruise is only packing and unpacking once, which is incredible. Wi-Fi, if you have to work, unfortunately, we do have great Wi-Fi. Sometimes we pay more for Wi-Fi than we do diesel. So it's really a changing scenery and a beautiful way to travel. So that's just a little bit of what is included. And a reminder, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box and we'll watch that and maybe get to them at the end. Or if you want to just take yourself off of mute, you can certainly just ask the question in the middle of the presentation. So
I want to throw in a customer service anecdote. You know, before, my customer service anecdote on AMA was that I lost a small earring on the biggest AMA ship, and somebody found it and brought it to me on a plate at dinner the next day. Well, here's the latest story. One of my friend, a travel advisor friend of mine, took a group to France last week, and one of her clients, her glasses fell off when they were disembarking for a tour, and they fell into the water. And 2 of the crew members stripped off their skivvies and jumped in the water to try to find her glasses.
I saw that.
I saw the picture.
I could not even believe that. I'm like, I could not believe it. But on the other hand, I'm like, that's so AMA that they would like jump in the water to try to find this lady's glasses.
It was.
Didn't they find him?
I'm not sure if they found him, but
I think they did.
It was amazing. Whether they found him or not, it was amazing. I mean,
I think our staff had quite a few pictures.
I'm sure
of them in their shirts off. So a lot of ladies probably standing.
A lot of joking about them in the water with their shirts off. Yeah.
Yes. But it was
anyway.
It's customer service. Thank you for that. Yeah. That's really, really an interesting point too, right? So the included excursions, of course, can be anything from gentle walkers to active walkers. Maybe you want to take a bike out. Our wellness host will help you with that. And I always say, if you haven't ridden a bike in 10 years, do not get on a bike. But it's a great mode, especially along the Danube, because it's a little bit flat along the Danube, along the river. Now, once you get into the cities, it's a couple of hills that you will hit. So you can look at this and say, nope, you're going to be traveling in March. It's going to be a little bit cooler than that, but the wellness host will lead any stretching, champagne yoga. If the weather is inclement, we'll go inside into the lounge, or nothing at all. So let's talk a little bit about the AmaSonata. So that's actually the vessel that you will be taking, and she is in the water, and of course, named for music. So let's go on board and look at the lobby. Beautiful appointed, very light and muted colors on the AmaSonata. This is where you're going to meet to take your tours. This is kind of the Mecca center of everything that happens. There are entrances on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, because sometimes we will dock on the left-hand side of the river or the right-hand side of the river. So there is an entryway to both sides. And then we'll talk about the all-important dining, right? Because that's what it's all about. And we're part of a French gastronomy membership, La Chaîne de Rôtissière, which is a French gastronomy membership dating back to medieval time. And Rudy is a member of this. So all of our fleet, they're a member. So all of the food that's brought on board is locally sourced from the destination. When you go on your tour, and if you came back early, sometimes you'll see the entire crew loading provisions from the destination for that day. So everything is locally sourced. We never freeze food, which is very important, but all of our breads and pastries are baked on board. And of course, if you have any dietary restrictions, we can help you with that. So it's very important pairing these wines, especially at the chef's table, with the courses. You can see the chef. He is getting ready for the chef's table, which is a specialty dining restaurant at no additional charge. You can see these portions are quite small. There's about 6 to 8 course pairings with wine. This is the beautiful chef's table on the AmaSonata, and it sits in the back of the vessel. I always did mine the last night because it's a great send-off. Middle of the cruise, it depends. And of course, Nicole will have, this only accommodates 24 passengers at a time. So when you have your group, we can set that up ahead of time and all of you can dine at that time. But it's a very intimate, sometimes the meal goes on for 3 hours because each course comes out with its pairing of wine. So all that's complimentary. So we can set that up ahead of time. And then all of the rest of the meals, you'll be eating in this beautiful dining room. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. You do have a late risers breakfast, and that is if you want to wake up a little bit later, not miss anything in the destination, but you need food, you can go to the lounge and I can get my boiled egg, my tea or coffee. I can also get muesli, you can get danishes, fruit. So there's always something to eat in case you want to sleep in a little bit. Remember, it's your vacation, you can. So also the performances on board. Here we have La Strada, which is an incredible troupe. And because we're going to Vienna, this troupe was founded probably 7 years ago by our owners, Rudy. There are a lot of world-class musicians that head to Vienna for the hopes of, it's kind of like New York and Broadway, for the hopes of getting a part in one of the opera houses. So there's world-renowned musicians. So they were playing on the street, and Rudy happened to pass by, and this 3-piece has turned into 6 separate three pieces because they grew their business because of the business that we gave them on board. And they're incredible. They'll play classical with a different flair. They'll play pop with classical flair. So it's a really interesting. And of course, Lestrada will be on board with us. And then of course, destination performances that we bring on board. And they'll do it all in the lounge. This happens to be the front of the lounge, and it's just a beautiful area to have read a book, have a sip of coffee or tea, and just relax. And I hope you find that downtime, especially when we're scenic sailing. So just wanted to show you the deck plan. You have 162 passengers on board of the Sonata. Anything from 160 to 300 square feet. And we'll see the room categories. And I just picked a few in the middle. Category C, which is a French balcony. It's very beautifully appointed, very light and muted colors. And that French balcony is wonderful. You can open that door all the way if you want to sit inside. I think all of you know what a French balcony is. If you don't, you can open the sliding glass doors from floor to ceiling, but you can't walk out. There's a bar right there.
And the reason behind that is that you don't lose any of the square footage in your room if you have a sliding door instead of a separate outside balcony.
Absolutely. However, if you choose category BA or BB or anything above that, you're looking at having a twin balcony. And that's what we're known for. This vessel is known for its twin balcony staterooms. So you have a French balcony. Sorry. You have a French balcony on this side, on the right-hand side, and then a full veranda on the left-hand side. So if you want that combination, and we're really the only cruise line that has that combination. Most of our rooms on board are twin balcony staterooms. And then if you want to move into a suite, we certainly can accommodate that if you want that extra space. But these rooms are very well designed. Luggage fits under the bed. It's really the luxury of space, 290 square feet, which is quite large on the river. So there is one more above that that's 300 square feet. And of course, those come with a butler service. So let's talk about the celebration of classical music. And I won't take Nicole's thunder, but the trip is March 25th through April the 1st with the pre-extension in Krakow. And that is 2023 aboard the AmaSonata. So on this particular cruise, it's one of our themed cruises. You have the regular program, but all the excursions are going to have music vignettes. I mean, you're going to have a walking tour that's going to include the history of a composer, the composer itself, the birthplace. You can see Mozart's residence. Also, every component of it will be music inspired with concerts and really so much more. So on top of the regular program, you will have all of these music influences. So that's a new for us. You will be on the inaugural sailing of the Sonata with this itinerary. And John has not really finished some of the concerts that he's planning. Has not been finalized yet. So being the first with the inaugural is going to be incredible. So I'm going to let Nicole talk about some of the composers associated with the destination.
So the trip, of course, as I said, it's focused on music, but it's not all music all the time. As Laurie said, we will have the regular program of excursions, but there will be twists to the program, additions to the program that bring in the music theme. So it's not like you don't have to be like a complete music nerd to enjoy the trip. It's not like that. It's not that kind of hardcore experience. But if you love music, you will find the deeper dive that you might enjoy. So I just went actually a couple of days ago and looked at all the composers that were associated with Bratislava, Budapest, and Vienna. And as you can see, it is a long list. I would just, all the big ones. Mozart is associated with, I mean, like every place along the Danube, basically. And I was very interested to see when I went to the Budapest Opera House a few weeks ago, which has just been massively renovated. We will tour that on this itinerary. And Gustav Mahler was head of the Hungarian State Opera, or the Hungarian Royal Opera, probably at that time. And it was apparently very contentious and unsuccessful pairing because Mahler was regarded as too progressive and not traditional enough for the Budapest Opera powers that be. I just thought that was kind of an interesting tidbit along that route. But you know, so many of the major composers from Central Europe would be a part of this, and you know, composers that you might not necessarily that jump out at you, but that are obviously associated with Hungary, like Bela Bartok, Kodály. There's a Kodály monument, Kodály street names in Budapest, Schoenberg, Strauss, Schubert, you name it. All of the major Central European composers are associated with 1, 2, or 3 or more of the destinations along the Danube. So it's kind of fun to feel like we're in their footsteps a little bit. This statue, does anybody want to guess who this statue is? I'll give you a hint. It's in Vienna. That's not a big hint because there's so many musicians and composers associated with Vienna. What's the composer that you would most associate with the beautiful blue Danube?
Strauss.
River. Yeah. It's Johann Strauss Jr. Yeah.
Junior. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And I love this list because truly, when you're on the Danube and you are, if you love classical music, you know, the history of these composers, it can fill a week. So good job on that, Nicole. So moving along, we're going to look at the map. And of course, we'll start in Krakow because that's the pre-extension, but it really starts in Budapest. That's where you actually board the vessel and you'll head here to Bratislava, Vienna. Then you'll go to Linz and then turn around because Linz and Melk in this area, it's not very far from each other. And then you'll end in Vienna. So a fantastic. Normally, if we were doing the regular melodies or romantic, we go all the way up into Passau. So it's an incredible journey, especially starting in Krakow. So that pre-extension, remember, when you get to Poland, you will have the cruise manager with you the entire time. So when you reach the hotel, and it's going to be the Krakow Hotel as of right now, you know, if anything doesn't happen, but that will be the hotel.
That's the name of it, the Krakow Hotel?
Yeah, the Krakow Hotel.
Oh, because John wouldn't say the name of it last time. He said, I can see it in this picture, but I can't see the name of it yet.
I know, and that's kind of what, you know, put that on the back burner because, you know, we still have a lot of time, but that's the hotel that we think it's going to be. So, and it's a 4-star. Any hotel that we pick is going to be a 4-star. It will be located in city center because that's what we pride ourselves on. So when you arrive at the hotel, you'll have a fantastic welcome reception, arrival day with a welcome reception. And then, you know, Krakow is really a beautiful and fascinating city. We went to Krakow probably 7 years ago and then took it out of our portfolio and put it back into because it's a beautiful, beautiful place. But remember, our pre and post land packages are not just you know, the hotel and breakfast. It's really comprehensive. You know, day 2 a.m., you're going to do a Krakow city tour. You're going to do a castle visit, the Jewish Quarter, Schindler's List. Remember the factory of Oskar Schindler, who was credited with saving 1,200 Jewish lives during World War II. And of course, was famously honored in the award-winning film Schindler's List. So you'll be treated to a live performance of the Polish anthem by a trumpeter on the highest tower of St. Mary's Church. And it's also known, otherwise known as St. Mary's Trumpet Call. And that's been a tradition since the 19th century. And then of course you'll have an afternoon free, which is always something wonderful. And then on day 3, you'll go into Auschwitz. And, you know, it is largely tragically infamous because of the labor and death camps. It's a very solemn day, but it was liberated January 17th to the 21st, 1945, and from saving 58,000 from further horrors. It's not for the faint at heart. It's a very solemn time, but it's a very beautiful, it is history. Whether it's good or bad, it is history. So, you know, it's a once in a lifetime excursion that you can honor the memory of those who perished, you know, and they won't be soon forgotten. So it's a really moving time. And then day 4 in the AM, we are going to drive to the ship in Budapest. And this is still being worked on, but we will do a stop midway and have lunch. And I'm not sure which city yet, but we'll find that out, you know, hopefully in the next couple of months. So that's really a comprehensive you know, pre-stay. And that pre-stay is priced at $900 per person. And remember, the cruise manager is with you the entire time. That cruise manager will find all of those little cafes and off the beaten path. And that's what they're known for. And they do such a great job. So Budapest, of course, when you Buda and Pest, and you can see the parliament behind there. We'll go into Hero Square and Castle Hill, Fisherman's Bastion, Mathis Church. Whether you're heading to the underground church or exploring Roman ruins. Also, you can hike up to Castle Hill if you want to be a little bit, because the views on Castle Hill, the breathtaking views of the city below. Later in the day, we'll celebrate the joy of music when visiting the Opera House, followed by a reception and a small performance. So as you can see, you know, even day 1, you are getting the likes of music and, you know, themed excursions. Then you can visit the Lizette House and Museum. It's previously home to one of Hungary's greatest composers and virtuoso pianist. You can immerse yourself in the history and the music. You'll see a collection of pianos, portraits, personal objects of the influential pianists of the 19th century. So as you can see, very intense, moving itinerary. And then the next stop is going to be Bratislava in Slovakia. And that is going to be an incredible, here you have Bratislava Castle on the hill, you can see that. And it's host to the crowning ceremonies of 11 Hungarian kings and queens between 1536 and 1830. Bratislava has earned its title, Coronation City of the Kings, and as you'll discover on your walking tour, you'll enjoy a surprise musical performance as part of this included excursion. You can also join the Taste of Slovakia, which is a fantastic tour. Hiking, and those that are a little bit more adventurous, you can hike up to Bratislava Castle. The views from the into the city are incredible. You're going to pause, you're going to be able to take photographs, but that's a fun-filled day. Then we move into Melk, and Melk is a quaint, small little town with the Melk Abbey. The Melk Abbey has over 80,000 collections, some musical manuscripts, but it has the largest collection of literary gatherings in Europe, and it's just a magnificent place. This is my pictures I took. I was there in August, and the grounds, of course, were lush and green, but beautiful, beautiful. And inside the Abbey, it is a school It is a working monastery. You have 900 students. We had one of the students as our guide, and she had graduated the year before. And it was an incredible tour because you're getting a tour of Milk Abbey from the eyes of a young girl that attended all 12 years of her schooling, but also the relationship she had with Milk and all the nooks and crannies that they would take shortcuts. So it was probably one of my best guides that I had. She was very knowledgeable about it. But in Milk, we will enjoy the acoustics. We did hear the pipe organ, and I always said, I bet a choir, a performance would be incredible. Well, guess what? You do get a choir performance included with the Milk Abbey tour. So just a little bit on that.
And that church is absolutely stunning inside, and you're not allowed to take pictures, which is why neither Laurie nor I has a picture of the inside of that church.
We don't. And then I thought she was going to take us through this little corridor. We went down a back stairwell. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, where is she taking us? And that's how they would get from one classroom or the library, because there is a door behind there and it has a spiral staircase, and it's absolutely beautiful. But the pews are old, they're crickety, which I absolutely loved. It was a place I sat and just meditated for a little bit, but I thought they were practicing the pipe organ, and I thought, gosh, if we just had a choir performance, it would be magical, probably bring you to tears. So yes, you will have the opportunity for a choir performance. So lucky for you, lucky for you. We only had the pipe organs, which were incredible, but this is actually the library. You cannot go through the barricades, but you've got these gigantic volumes. You can't see how big they are, but they're huge, huge, huge. Always fire was always a danger. So there are water spots that they can access water at any given moment all along the library. So it's you've got these works of art, also a lot of musical manuscripts as well. So it's a beautiful place. It just had my heart when I was there. And then Linz. So we can go to Salzburg from Linz, or you can stay in Linz. You can opt for a full day excursion in Salzburg. And of course, you'll visit the Sound of Music. You're going to go through Mondiz, which is the home of the Basilica St. Michael, where the wedding scene from The Sound of Music was filmed. Or you can join a walking tour through Old City of Linz. And Mozart composed his Linz Symphony and Linz Sonata in only 3 days in 1783. So there's a lot of history, a lot of culture. Or you can choose to visit Český Krumlov, which you'll have some options in Linz to do. But Salzburg is going to be a full day. It was well worth it. Of course, we'll visit the residence of Mozart's birthplace. I think we're going to hear a concert there. So it's really incredible. Salzburg is a beautiful city. Beautiful.
It's really cool. The Mozart residence is actually, to me, more interesting than the birthplace, because there's a lot of stuff from his family and about his musical development. And it's got more detail in the exhibits, I would say.
Yes. So a must see, you just kind of have to choose, because remember that the Salzburg tour is going to be a full day. Well worth it. I absolutely love Salzburg. I'd love to go back and spend more time there. It's just an incredible, incredible city. And then we get to Vienna. And of course, we will visit the Schönbrunn Palace and Gardens. And, it was built in the 18th century, 1,441 room Baroque palace, which is incredible. And it is the most important architectural, cultural, and historical monument in Austria. So, during the afternoon, you can explore the city, of course, and see some of the composers, Mozart, Beethoven, Schubert, and the past residents to museums, to grand monuments. So you will have an afternoon of leisure. And then that night, there will be a concert. But in Vienna, you have your own private cruise manager, Nicole.
Well, I was going to actually go back and add that part of the AMA itinerary is the composer's walking tour. And that was actually one thing that I was going to do as part of my land package. And then a couple months later, AMA added it to their package. So I'm like, oh, good. I don't have to put that now on mine.
Absolutely.
And I also wanted, I put some highlights up here. We have a 4-night additional land package that you can add for Vienna. This is a Mon Voyage package that I created to add, because I know that probably a lot of the people that would go on this trip with me would be interested in seeing some performances at some of the major venues in Vienna. And of course, we will visit the most important museums of the city, the Belvedere, the Leopold, the Vienna Secession, where you have the Beethoven Frieze by Klimt, and you listen to the Beethoven, the fourth movement of the Ninth Symphony, with the Beethoven frieze that he painted, like to illustrate his conception of the Ode to Joy. It's a really cool experience. The Museum of Applied Arts, which is full of the Wiener Werkstätte, the Vienna workshops, major design project of the turn of the 19th into the 20th century. I'm standing next to a giant Easter egg in that picture because we will be there just a little bit before Easter, and we'll have the Easter markets we can visit. Also at Schönbrunn Palace, there is an Easter market there as well. I found this totally adorable Easter egg when I was there on that other trip. My parents lived in Germany before I was born, and we had these metal Easter eggs that they had brought from Germany. And as an adult, I really kind of missed those metal Easter eggs. And then I found some at the Easter market. So now I have a metal Easter egg again. But we'll also, for the musicians or for anybody who's interested in music, I'm in contact now with the Bösendorfer piano company, and we will be setting up a visit to the Bösendorfer piano factory, a private visit, which is amazing. I've been to I guess I'm taking a list of all the major piano factories in the world now, because I've been to Steinway, I've been to Fazioli. I took my group to Fazioli a couple of years ago, and now I'm taking my group to Bösendorfer. So I'm kind of working my way down the list, I guess. If we're in Vienna, we need to go see the Bösendorfer piano factory. And of course, we will have performance opportunities at the Musikverein, the Concert House, and the Staatsoper. I can tell you that they have just started releasing their schedules. You'll have the opportunity for several concerts, but I would say the sort of highlight ones would be both the St. John and St. Matthew Passion of Bach. You could hear on 2 different nights. And the Wiener Staatsoper, the Vienna State Opera schedule, actually does not come out until the 30th. It will be live streamed on Facebook at 4:30 a.m. Dallas time. If you want to wake up that early, I was thinking if it was early in the morning, but not at 4:30, I would get up and watch it live. But I'm feeling like at 4:30, I'm going to go online after I wake up and see what we can see while we're in Vienna. So that information will be coming pretty soon.
That's incredible. I mean, where else are you going to get that? I mean, really, this add-on package is incredible. Nicole, good job. Good job. We're going to hire her as our cruise manager, one of our cruise managers. How about that? So this is just a couple of pictures. And of course, this is Schönbrunn.
This is the Belvedere Museum,
the Belvedere. Okay.
Which is where you will find probably the best Klimt collection in the world.
That's right. I'm looking at the back end, thinking it's the back end. Beautiful opera house.
That's the Musikverein, the Golden Hall at the Musikverein. Me and Bratislava on my other Danube trip. I just kind of threw that in there because you'll have bring back lots of memories, and
absolutely,
maybe not physical postcards, but lots of pictures. And if you want to send postcards, there's postcards on AmaWaterways on the ship that they will mail for you. Some of you probably got postcards from me when I was on my ships.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we do have a treat for you.
I have to tell about the surprise.
Absolutely, the surprise. So
Here's another a little special extra thing that's going to happen on this trip. So it just so happens that a client / friend of mine is going on this trip, and his name is Ken Issaka. And I don't know if you guys follow or have ever been to the Clyburn Amateur, but it is one of the most important amateur piano competitions in the world. And along with one in Paris, St. Petersburg, Washington, D.C., and a few other places. But anyway, Ken has been a finalist at the Clyburn Amateur competition 3 times. And he is actually won in Washington, D.C. and St. Petersburg. So he's an extremely accomplished pianist, although he is a tech professional in California by trade. Most of the people that play at these amateur competitions are super, super smart, and they have just chosen to go down a different career path, but they have kept their love of music alive with a really high technical and artistic skill. So I wanted to just play a short video of Ken performing, because Ken has offered to perform for us on the trip. So we have a little extra bonus there. We're not sure if it's going to be on the ship or off the ship or what exactly, but Ken has volunteered to perform for us. So anyway, we're gonna have a short 3-minute video of Ken performing a Bach Prelude and Fugue, and Laurie's gonna switch that on.
I'm gonna switch this on. Tell me, Nicole, what can you see on my screen right now?
Your PowerPoint.
Okay, so let me just stop sharing just a second.
Now I see everybody. Hey!
Yay! So I'm going to.
And apologies in advance if the sound is not ideal streaming YouTube over Zoom.
Yes.
But you can still hear Ken's talent.
Let's see if we can do.
And his partner will actually be coming with him, and she's also an incredible pianist herself.
So let's see if this is going to work, that I can share. All right. Can you see it?
I can.
Okay, let's play it.
So he's a really interesting guy. Okay, we are not doing Shenyun.
No.
I think actually everybody that's going on this trip is going to be excellent company. I'm extremely biased. All my clients are excellent company, but I swear it's the truth, or I wouldn't make group trips with them. So, and the last thing we want to mention is that I think some of you guys might know that there was a promotional offer that ended March 31st. And Laurie and I were able to get the groups department to extend that by 30 days for this trip specifically because of the event that we were having tonight. So the $1,000 off the cruise has been extended to April 30th because they wanted to allow me to have the opportunity to promote it again at this event tonight. So I'm going to assume that that's the end of the $1,000 off April 30th. So if y'all have any specific questions about the trip, you can ask them now. You can email me. I'm actually leaving to take a group to Brussels and Netherlands on May 3rd. So the end of April is going to be busy around here already. So if anybody would like to pursue booking your stateroom on the cruise before I leave, so why you can get the $1,000 off, because that's real money. Because this cruise actually, because it's in the shoulder season, the pricing is pretty attractive to begin with. So like the category E cabins are $29.99 normally, which is already a very nice price. But with $1,000 off, that's $19.99 for double occupancy for your week cruise that includes everything that AMA includes. The Krakow package is $900. The Vienna package is $16.90 double occupancy. So, I mean, if you did all that entire 2 weeks, if you were in like a category E cabin, 2,900, 1,700, you're talking, I mean, for 2 whole action-packed weeks, $4,600. So that's really pretty good. Again, I booked my cabin before the end of March because I wanted to snag that deal. So if you haven't done it now, you got another chance for another 10 days to do that. But of course, you can book after that, but
Yes.
I'm not sure that we'll have that particular pricing available again.
Will there be single if you're single, are there options for that too on pricing?
Normally the single, you would get $1,000 off, or sometimes I have to check. Laura, do you know if this is a 25% supplement or?
I don't know. I did not check. I did not check it. It's either the 1,000 or the 1.25. And how we calculate it is we take the promotion out, we add it back in, and then we take the promotion off of it. So it's basically could be 1.50. And it's not 200%, but it's 1.50. So reservations will calculate that for you.
Got it.
Yeah, Liz, I can actually, I'll just go in and do pretend like I'm making a reservation, and it'll show me how much
Yeah,
it would
I'm
be.
interested. I mean, because I don't know if I can find anybody who'd want to do it, but just an idea. Oh, and you said when we go from Krakow to Budapest, we're going to be on some kind of bus or
Motor coach, absolutely. Motor coach.
On a coach, yeah.
It can be up to they're saying 5.58 hours, but we will be stopping midway and having lunch and some free time in one of the towns along the way. That has not been determined yet.
Okay.
It's kind of like our long haul from Wilshofen. When we do Prague to Wilshofen, we stop like in Regensburg. We have lunch, free time, so it makes it really nice. And your cruise manager's with you the entire time too, on pre, and then your cruise manager, Nicole, will be on, on your land manager on post. So it's a great trip, but this is a really fantastic trip.
Well, does anybody have any other questions? Karen?
Yeah, is the cruising, so during the days, are you on land, or if you choose to be on land, or is the cruising in the evenings, or how much cruising and how much land, I guess?
I mean, I would say that there is some cruising during the day, but it is mostly overnight on the Danube. If you like, that's another thing I can get out of buried deep inside the online booking engine, Seaware. It's a navigational schedule, and I could literally tell you, like,
Yes.
every day what time we're docking and what time we're leaving and all that stuff. But really, it was significant amount of time on land, so you got to see a lot of stuff.
Absolutely. You know, Vienna, you will be overnighting. Budapest, you will be overnighting. So you do have some time. And then when we're scenic sailing, and we do that in the afternoon, we'll do the Baca Valley, just to let you see what scenic sailing is. And that's an afternoon sailing. It could be mid-morning, but normally we're in port between 8 and 14 hours sometimes. So a lot of time, and we do our traversing at night. But if we want you to be awake to see the valley,
they make sure, like, the really good cruising is like when you're going to see it.
And remember, you can see land on both sides. You know, the Danube, it's wider than the Rhine, but it's a really beautiful river. It really is, and you're going to see some charming towns along the way as well.
Any other questions? Okay, I'm going to end with some trivia that I didn't get to do at our in-person thing because we just got so busy talking and chatting. All right, so I think I already did one trivia question, right? Or who was that composer?
Right.
Okay. I'm just going to do only the Danube trivia that I had brought with me, and I have one other music related Rhine question. Okay, so this romantic era composer, whose wife was a noted pianist, hint, hint, tried to commit suicide by throwing himself into the Rhine and spent the rest of his life in an asylum.
No, I'm trying to remember who that was. I just read that in the
Piano
program,
guy, right?
It wasn't Schiller, was it?
So close.
Started with an S.
Yes, it starts with a sh. Robert Schumann. In 2011, Hungarian lawmakers voted to change the name of Budapest's main airport to honor Hungary's most famous composer and musician. What is his name? If you don't do the pre-cruise thing in Krakow, you'll fly into this airport.
I don't know.
Franz Liszt.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna
Only
say
another
that.
Franz Liszt is Hungarian. It looks like Franz Liszt is different in Hungarian.
Are you sure that the airport in Krakow is Liszt? Because I was
In
just
Budapest.
In Budapest.
Oh, Budapest. Okay, because in Krakow it's actually John Paul II.
Well, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Which
I was checking airfares, and actually I just picked, and it wasn't as much as I thought, going from Dallas to Krakow, and then returning from Vienna back to Dallas.
in the spring, it's really not bad in March. It's before it goes up for the summer.
I just did it. It was only less than $1,100 round trip.
Yeah, because you get that shoulder season. It's like the fares are better.
Yeah, American. Because I prefer to stay on American or Delta or United.
That's good. That's good air. If you're thinking about this,
Yeah,
trip, I'd pull the
is
trigger
good.
on that air. Yes.
I mean, that was on Expedia, of course, but I mean, they had so many airlines and I was like, I'm sticking with an American. I don't know what's going to happen with COVID, but it's better to be on an American airline when you're coming back from Europe.
Yeah.
COVID journey.
And, we won't talk about the COVID restrictions because it's 2023. We're very far out. They're dropping restrictions left and right. So it really is going to be, we hope, a more normal year than 2022 is. And we're thinking even the fall. So we won't talk about COVID restrictions, like I said, and that's why I brought it up. 2020, we put all of our protocols in place. 2021, we had a sales season. 2022, everything has gone off without a hitch. So we've been selling since March, the middle of March. And we have 20 of our 25 in the water right now. So
Wow, fabulous.
yes, we're very excited about that.
Is there any concern about impacts from the war, or either economic or supplies, or I don't know what,
We
fuel?
we have the lower Danube is sailing, and that goes from Budapest to Bucharest basically, and that is the closest point to Ukraine. But we have 2 BDMs that have been on it. Rudy actually was on the lower Danube last week, early last week, and everything is fine. The refugees have not been an issue, and they're staying closer, to the Ukraine border. But it was beautiful. And you have people that are just adamant about not traveling. We kind of put them in 2 buckets. And then now we've got, passengers that are crew and staff, Serbia, Romania, Polish, Poland. So they really want to send their money back to their families. And we have a lot of clients that really want to support the efforts of the Ukrainian people. And that's the way to do it. So a lot of monetary money that we were able to give directly to aid from our passengers.
And a ship.
And the ship.
In Amsterdam.
Well, yeah, we the ship has moved a little bit, but we are still giving back to the communities. So, our staff is very appreciative of, the tips that they're getting because they're sitting at home. It's been an incredible, the Ukrainian people are, just very, very proud that they can, and the neighboring countries to support the Ukrainian people. So it's all in an effort to help. And by us sailing, it really is keeping the economic growth and stabilizing a little bit. So we're doing our part. So hopefully this could go on for a year, 2 years. We don't know,
When I was in Budapest a few weeks ago, it was literally like we were collecting money and supplies for the refugees. But aside from that, in Budapest, there was no sign that anything was, it was completely like regular life in Budapest, and they were about to have an election. So there were campaign posters everywhere. And it was, you would never know that there was anything going on within, I don't know, however many 500 miles or whatever, but it was pretty normal. I'm not lessening the situation.
Absolutely.
But I'm just saying, as a person within a certain radius of that area, it was undetectable in terms of your local experience.
Right. And that's what we're, finding too. So, geography plays a part in it also, just knowing where we are versus where the country is.
I'm looking at a map and I'm like, we're pretty far from Ukraine.
I realize that, but I just didn't know.
Yeah.
You have, weed's going to be expensive for everybody.
Yes. And
unfortunately.
Insurance is for.
That's what insurance is for. And, whether COVID has taught us that, whether anything, you just don't leave the country without insurance, knowing that, and of course we would never sail if it was.
No. they would alter the route or, I mean, come up with other substitute if there's any
Absolutely.
issue. And I mean, honestly, on that upper Danube, I feel like it's
Yes,
probably fine.
yes. And Lower Danube too, really,
Yeah.
Lower Danube. So I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Great
Thank you,
seeing all
Lori.
of you again. It was nice seeing you. I'll get the recording. It has to convert and I'll get it to Nicole. But thank you for your attention tonight and have a great evening, okay? See you.
Okay,
Thank
see you
you. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you
Good
so
night.
much.